Shout outs to the authority. Nota is back. Ladies and gentlemen, Nota has given us one of the most amazing episodes ever. And I just want to shout him out for giving us a different perspective as far as politics is concerned. I think a lot of people don't know how smart and intelligent Nota is. I know some people are starting to understand, but if you go way back, I think there isn't anybody that I've shot more episodes with on the Hustler's Corner than Nota and Penuel, right? And you know, as a Grootman, sometimes you like having those bragging rights. Like, I put them on. Nobody puts on anyone. You find them great already. You find them moving already. That's how you got to be moving in your career for anybody to even recognize what you're doing and sort of add value in what you're doing and put you in a different level, which is exactly what I did with Nota. I have always known how intelligent Nota is ever since he was young, since he was a teenager when I was hosting a YFM. He's always been my youngster. I would get some people saying, why do you have that boy on your platform? Why do you have that boy on your podcast? Nota can be rude, he can be brash, etc. I remember even my brother Shimza, shout out to Shimza, saying, no, Brasbuda, come on, why you gotta have Nota on the platform? And then I was like, but guys, I love you all. And if I feel any of you guys have got potential or an intelligent mind and I want to sit down with them and have a convo with, I don't care who says what. I don't agree with everything that anybody out there is doing. But if I'm going to sit down with you on the pod, it means there's something that I've seen. And there's something that I feel or believe that you can share with our platform, with the hustlers, our followers, our subscribers. And which is exactly what I've done with Nota on all of the episodes that we've done with Nota. Go back to since episode 1. Just search DJ Sbu and Nota, or just Nota on the Hustler's Corner. He drops jams, he drops knowledge. And it's always been my irritation that when he's on other platforms, people use him for clout. They use him for clout because they ask him about these celebrities. They ask him about some of the controversial things that have trended that he has said, and they're just trying to get clout out of him. That's why my episodes with Nota have been the most different, because I engage him on that intellectual level, because I know that he can bring it. He's actually even smarter than me. I love people like that. I learn from people who are smarter than me. Why do you think I've worked with Penyo all along? Why do you think that I always surround myself with smarter people? Because I know that smartness, that intellect rubs off onto me, and it also makes me or forces me to bring up my game. So Nota brought it on this Monday's episode. I've been featuring him for the longest of time. Check out all the other interviews that is done on other platforms, and then check out the interviews that is done on the Hustler's Corner. I always engage him on that intellectual level, and he always drops jams. In the beginning, it used to frustrate me. I used to think his information is going over our audience's heads. But now I'm slowly starting to get excited because people are starting to get his intellectualism, his intelligence, and I love that. And it did not disappoint on Monday. I haven't seen him on the podcast in a while. The last time we did a podcast, I think we were in New York. Oh, no. After New York, we did one episode when he landed in the country a few months ago before the elections with one of our American brothers, Laverne. And he also dropped knowledge there, wisdom. You know, Nota always brings it. So this was like the second time since New York, since we recorded an episode in New York. Also go check out that episode that we did in New York. He always drops jams. The difference about Nota is that he shoots from the hip. He's not afraid to speak his mind. He's a free thinker. He's intelligent. He's sharp. He's smart. So on Monday's episode, spoke about the EFF, spoke about the DA, the PA, spoke about the recent elections that have just taken place, spoke about the coalitions, the government of national unity. He took history all the way back to 1924. He made me look at things differently from the narrative of 2024 is our 1994. Nota said, no, this is actually our 1924. Go 100 years back, big homie. And then I went back and I started reading about Abu John Smart, Abu Perry Herzog. I started reading about Abu Labour Party, Abu South African Party just before apartheid started. And I learned so many things, and I started seeing the similarities with what's happening right now in the country with these elections. These elections that have just ended. A lot of similarities with what happened back in 1924, even though black people's political parties were not there yet. Black people, obviously, at the time, it was just before apartheid, many years ago. It was white people participating with the British. It was the Afrikaners and the British, obviously, in politics. And when you read, you get to be so enlightened about South African history. He basically took us on a journey of South African history on Monday's episode. So I just wanted to shout you out, Nota. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for dropping some gems. Looking forward to having you once again on the platform. Maybe drop some names here on some of the people that you guys would like to see on the podcast, on the Hustlers Corner podcast. Who are some of the people that you'd like for me to invite? But Nota is not going anywhere. He's an ally of the podcast. He's an ally of the show. Besides the show, man, Nota has always been my youngster. He's always been my younger brother. I've always featured him on my shows. Even back in the day at YFM, I've always featured Nota. He's always been a hustler since he was young. Even before he met Abo Questa and them, he was throwing parties, inviting Abo Dalles, inviting me back in those days, the days of Abo Fejo, rest in peace to Kabzela, rest in peace to DJ Monde, the glory days of YFM. I knew Nota from then. I used to host him on my morning shows. I used to host him on my afternoon shows. And Nota actually even used to book me as a teenager. Imagine being a professional DJ, being booked by a 17, 18-year-old who's already throwing gigs. That's how sharp and smart he was. I could already see this guy's going to end up in the industry and is going to do really well. And that's exactly what he ended up doing. He ended up getting into the industry, managing Abo Questa, starting his own label, working with different, and doing all sorts of different things in the industry. But apart from that, don't be fooled by his knowledge of music, and don't be fooled by his non-filtered mouth. He speaks his mind and is not afraid to do so. And don't be fooled by the controversies and some of the things that he gets to trend for. I always say to him, Nota, people are making you stoop so low, they're dragging you down to their level. Refuse, bro. Refuse, Nota. Your mind is elite. Stay on this level. Yes, you can always be with the people. You can always be with the trench. You can always be on the trenches, on the ground, and bring other people along with your knowledge. But you don't have to allow yourself to be dragged all the way down there, where you're always having tours, fighting with people, and all of that type of stuff. And I always say to him, remain here, because your mind is superior. You've got superior logic, as some of the EFF leaders would say. He is that mind. So go check out that episode. Go listen to some of the things that he's engaging on. But also his brilliance of being able to take a conversation, understanding that it's a more than 1 hour or 2 hours conversation, is able to move from his divorce, that I appreciate him for, him being vulnerable on camera, that he's not afraid to speak about, moving into movies, Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, talking about the brand Porsche, talking about the 007 cars, we spoke about the Aston Martin, we spoke about movies, we spoke about the industry, and then we moved from that all the way into the current elections, the coalition government, the GNU, the politics, the elections, just how he's able to hold a conversation for 2 hours, moving from one subject to the next, not waiting for you as the facilitator or the interviewer to take him there. He takes himself there. But also because me and Nota, we've known each other for so many years and we've recorded so many episodes together, we've got chemistry amongst one another. It's like me and Penyo. When we sit down, we are able to easily have a 2 hour conversation, just sitting down and maybe covering flipping 5 topics at one podcast without having to be obvious about changing topics. But the conversation still flows and the topics change and you're still engaged. And it takes you on that emotional roller coaster. You get irritated with him. You get to understand. You get to admire his brilliance. You get to be taught about. Sometimes you pause the episode. You go Google some things that you don't understand. You come back. Because that's what he does to me while I'm interviewing him. I sometimes take out my phone, do my own